Hi, I'm Tom with a list of interesting things. Today, in interesting political things, we have the 2021 infrastructure bill. This has been long anticipated and long debated, but the full text is now out and available. Now, it's not finalized yet, there's still debate to be had, but cloture was voted on by 50 Democrats and 17 Republicans, meaning at this point, barring something really dramatic happening, it's very likely to pass. As such, I thought we'd take a look at it. Now, the full text is 2,702 pages long. That's not a joke. It's, notably a lot for the average person, but fortunately, I am not the average person, and I've been scanning it for the better part of a day. I haven't gotten all the way through, but I found plenty of meaningful highlights, and I would love to dig in. Now, I haven't found any highlight lists from reputable sources yet, so this might be one of the first ones on the internet. Kinda cool. So, for this video, I've taken some of my favorite sections, specifically those related to climate change prevention measures, and compiled them into a list. We're going to go through them one by one and discuss them in a less organized fashion than usual. It might be a little rambly and it might be a little long, so subscribe and leave a like if you want to see more nonsensical bill analysis. 3 notes before we start. Number 1. This bill, as I said, is not in its final form. It's also 2,700 pages long, which means I will miss things. So take everything herein with a grain of salt. Some of these things are subject to change, and I'm just one person with limited time, so I haven't had a chance to literally go through the whole thing. Number 2. After a brief, or relatively brief intro, we'll only be dealing today with the climate change prevention measures in the bill. There is much, much more we won't be discussing because the video will already be too long. That means we will not be discussing more investment into traditional infrastructure like roads and bridges, broadband, which is focused on quite a bit, cybersecurity, domestic purchase incentives, unemployment insurance, and, perhaps most importantly, cost. This is a $1 trillion bill. We won't be digging into exactly how the money is being spent, we just don't have that kind of time. If you want me to do a video on that, or any of those, or any other topics in this bill, please let me know. Finally, number 3, as I'm sure you can hear, we have a soundtrack for this video, which is a little unusual. This video will basically be us wading through the boring to try to dig out the kernels of interesting. As such, we have the marvelous FTL soundtrack in the background. Check them out when you get a chance, they're amazing. Alright, let's dive in with an overview of the table of contents, so you can get a sense of the bill as a whole. If you want to skip this section and get right into the climate change section, you should be able to in the YouTube player. Alright, here we go. First things first, we have the title page, and I would love to note this. Amendment in the nature of a substitute intended to be proposed by Ms. Sinema for herself, Mr. Portman, Mr. Manchin, Mr. Cassidy, Mrs. Shaheen, Ms. Collins, Mr. Tester, Ms. Murkowski, Mr. Warner, and Mr. Romney. Democrats and Republicans mixed. That is an excellent thing for the health of the bill. I think that makes it very, very likely that this bill will pass. Here we go. We are scrolling. All right. Everybody ready? Everybody settled in? Everybody got a cup of tea? Here we go. Title 1, Federal Aid Highways. Lots and lots of stuff. We will not be dealing with authorizations, authorizations of programs. We will not be dealing with that. We will not be dealing with planning and performance management. The only thing we will be dealing with in here today is subtitled the climate change. One of the most exciting sections of any bill I've ever read, and I have read an unhealthy number of bills. Miscellaneous, anything interesting in miscellaneous. This is going to be a lot of the video, by the way. It's just going to be you and me staring at this paper, trying to find things about the paper trying to find related kernels. Blood transport vehicle. Pollinator-friendly practices. You know something? I'm actually going to add... I think that is relevant. I'm going to add that to our list. That is section 11525. 11511. I can read. 525. Pollinators. Let's check that out when we get on our way to go through. Active transportation infrastructure. Okay. Vehicle per mile user fee pilot. We will not be dealing with this, I don't believe. Vehicle collision research. Like, there's cool stuff in here, don't get me wrong. That's just not what we're dealing with today. That is another day's concern. Indian affairs, we will not be dealing with. Freight transportation, we will not be taking a look at. Multimodal investment. Rail. Oh yeah, there's Amtrak reforms in this bill. Amtrak accounting, Amtrak spending. Now this I find interesting. This makes me kind of wonder if there have been any shady dealings in Amtrak's accounting divisions lately. But we'll deal with that when we deal with that. Rail safety is super exciting, but not what we're dealing with today. Motor carrier safety. I find this really exciting. I find new transportation safety guidelines super interesting. No. Vehicle safety guidelines. Headlamps. Global harmonization. Not what we're dealing with, though I do want to look at it. Crash avoidance technology. I know there's many mentions of self-driving vehicles in this car. Child safety in there, too. Research and innovation. I know there was some references in... Yes, electric vehicle working group. I took a look through this, and it's not as relevant as I would like it to be. Again, this is already going to be too long of a video. So that's not what we're going to be dealing with today. Hazardous materials. That's just emergency response, general provisions. Sport fish restoration and recreational boating safety. This is relevant, but again, not quite what I want to focus on in this video. Division D, energy. This along with the climate change section is one of the bulks of what I want to look at. Preventing outages and enhancing the resilience of the electric grid. Taking shots at Texas. State energy program, that's spectacular. There's a lot of references to cybersecurity in this bill. Supply chains for clean energy technology. I love this. I'm so excited. So very excited. Skills and technology infrastructure. This is so cool. Carbon capture technology. I don't actually have that one on the list, I don't think. Nope. We're going to add carbon capture technology. That's 40302. 40303 even. Perfect. Carbon storage, carbon removal. Yeah. Let's go 40308. Pollinators and carbon maintenance. Nuclear energy infrastructure, I adore. I don't have anything in here on that either. This is one of the reasons that we're going back through the table of contents. I've gone through the table of contents like 10 times, and I find new things every time we go through. This is going to be like an hour-long video. I hope you guys are strapped in. Infrastructure, you know what? We'll just look through the whole thing. 40321 through 40323. Perfect. Hydroelectric power. This is nuclear. 40331. Oh goodness. Through 40336. Hydro. I love this soundtrack. I'm so excited. Solar energy technologies on current and former mine land. You know something? I hadn't been planning on dealing with this one, but let's do it. 40341. Yeah. Okay, through 40342. This will be miscellaneous mine solar. Perfect. Moving on to section 5, I have plenty of stuff in here. Department of Energy Loan Program, Energy Information Administration. .405 energy efficiency. Yeah, this is going to be an exciting section. We're going to spend some time in here. We're going to spend some time in here. So this is residential and commercial, and this is industrial. I'm very interested in the distinctions they draw. Look how much climate change stuff is in this bill. Look at this flippin' bill. Look at this. Grants for energy efficiency improvements and renewable energy improvements at public school facilities. This is insane. Weatherization assistance programs. I don't think I have that one. It doesn't seem necessary. Energy efficiency and comfort. I took a look through this one. It's just not exciting, really. I think we'll still stop in on these two. Like I said, we are digging for pearls at the bottom of the ocean. There's a lot of boring around us. Methane reduction, abandoned mine reclamation. These are very interesting, actually. Hold on here. Do we want to stop and check out the methane reduction infrastructure? Let's do it. 40601. We're already on this crazy train. We might as well commit. Methane. 40601. Abandoned mine reclamation. I'm not... how the abandoned mines will be reclaimed is not the purpose of this video. Oh, this is a great one. We're doing this entire section. Natural resource related infrastructure, wildfire management, and ecosystem restoration. We're going to spend so much time in here. Western water infrastructure. Water infrastructure, we are not dealing with. That's another video. Authorization of appropriations for Energy Act of 2021. The authorization and appropriations are not what we're looking for. Wage rate requirements. Super exciting. Very interesting stuff. Not what we're dealing with today. Office of Clean Energy. Yep, we're dealing with 41201. That's already on the list. Drinking water we're not dealing with. Drinking water we're not dealing with. I know it's related. Like reducing lead in drinking water. That's such meaningful infrastructure reform. We're not dealing with it today. Clean water, very meaningful. Look at how granular this stuff gets. Grants to Alaska to improve sanitation in rural and native villages. It's so granular. This is such a huge bill. But we just can't deal with everything that's in it right now. Look, we're 12 minutes into the video. We haven't even started the bill yet. Broadband, can't deal with it. Digital equity, can't deal with it. Super exciting stuff. Not doing it today. Broadband affordability, amazing stuff. Indian Water Rights Settlement Completion Fund. Not dealing with it today. Here we go. Wildfire mitigation. Wildfire mitigation, reforestation, recycling practices. This stuff we're dealing with today. Reforestation following wildfires and other unplanned events. Yes, we have a whole lot in the 7 zeros. We have 70201 through 70207 and 70301 through 70303. Okay, so we're dealing with all of this. Recycling practices we have. Cybersecurity. Super cool stuff. Not dealing with it today. All of this is very interesting stuff. This is all of this. I think all the way down to here is, this is domestic purchasing incentives for companies, largely for companies and for the federal government. This could be just these three sections could be a video all on their own. 70911 through 70953. This could be a video all on its own, but not today. This is not an economics video. We'll deal with that some other time. Clean school buses and the clean school bus program. I'm so excited to dig into this. This is going to be amazing. Relief for taxpayers affected by disasters or other critical events. I think we are going to dig into this one. This is going to be the one step we take outside of climate change prevention stuff, because I think it's relevant enough that I want to dig into it, and it's 4 sections, so I want to deal with it. We're going to dig into that just a little bit. And I think the last one let's take a look at the other provision. Modification of tax rate, no. Extension of interest rate stabilization. What? This is not an economic video, Tom. We can't do it. We can't do it. Okay. I think this is the last thing we're going to deal with right here. 90002, Strategic Petroleum Reserve Drawdown and Sale. That's very interesting. And I'm excited to see exactly what that means. We're not dealing with any COVID-related. We're not dealing with Spectrum auctions, and that's it. And then we start digging into the bill proper. You guys ready? Here we go. The first section we are going to is, you guys can't see my search bar, but we are going to 11401. Are we still playing music? Yeah. Oh, it's just a spooky track. This track is called Deep Space. Cool. Okay, here we go. Let's go. Subtitle D, Climate Change. So this is under the Federal Aid for Highways section. This is Title 1. Purpose. The purpose of this section is to establish a grant program to strategically deploy publicly accessible electric vehicle charging infrastructure, hydrogen fueling infrastructure, propane fueling infrastructure, and natural gas fueling infrastructure along designated alternative fuel corridors or in certain other locations that would be accessible to all drivers of electric vehicles, hydrogen vehicles, propane vehicles, and natural gas vehicles. I'm actually going to skip us right to the next track. How we doing? No, next one? Mantis? There we go. Yeah. There's some music. So this is infrastructure designed to create more generally accessible electric charging stations. Principally. There's other types of charging stations here, but those ones principally. So here we go. Not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of the FAST Act, the Secretary shall... Oh, hold on. Not later than 180... A goal of achieving, okay. Summarizes best practices and provides guidance developed through consultation with the Secretary of Energy for project development of electric vehicle charging infrastructure, hydrogen fueling infrastructure, propane fueling infrastructure, and natural gas fueling infrastructure at the state, tribal, and local level to allow for the predictable deployment of that infrastructure. Oh, this is so cool. This is the section awarding grants. You guys excited to learn how to read bills? Public accessibility, charging of fuel and connected types. It's so granular. There's reason this is 2,000 flippin' pages. Almost 3,000 flippin' pages, in fact. Okay, so I think we have a sense of what 11401 is. So let's go to 11402. Reduction of truck emissions at port facilities. In general, the Secretary shall establish a program to reduce idling at port facilities, under which the Secretary shall study how ports and intermodal port transfer facilities would benefit from increased opportunities to reduce emissions at ports, including through the electrification of port operations, study emerging technologies, coordinate and provide funding to test, evaluate, and deploy projects that reduce port-related emissions, In carrying out the program under this subsection, the Secretary may consult with the Secretary of Energy and the Administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency. Okay, so it looks like this is just studying. Oh no! The Secretary shall award grants to fund projects that reduce emissions at ports. Hey! Grant shall not exceed 80% of the total cost of a project funded by the grant. Okay, I've seen this language many times, similar language, throughout this bill and other bills. This means that the state, local, or tribal government will have to put up at least 20% of the cost. So if the federal government is going to fund something related to this bill, or at least this section of this bill, they need to, the local government or the state government needs to pony up 20% of the cost. Okay, so that's 11402. So that's charging station, and that's ports. 403, Carbon Reduction Program. Oh, here we go. Metropolitan. This is another fun thing about the bills. Definitions. Bills are a lot like programming. It's just consistent efforts to reduce ambiguity. So all of these sections, a lot of these sections, I should say, start with definitions. Eligible projects is defined. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, yes, yes. Eligible products. Hold on, did we miss it? Go back to ATOM. Maybe obligated project described in section traffic monitoring management and control facility. Eligible, okay. Fast Act project described in this section for advanced transportation. Deployment of infrastructure. Place street lighting with energy efficient alternatives. Development of a carbon reduction strategy in accordance with subsection D. We'll get to that in a little while. That's the protect section. It is designed to support congestion pricing, shifting transportation demand to non-peak hours and other transportation modes, increasing vehicle occupancy rates, or otherwise reducing demand for roads, including electronic toll collection and travel demand management strategies and programs. Now, I've seen this at a couple times around the nation already, notably in Nova in Northern Virginia, and in DC too, I suppose. There are toll highways, and those toll highways go up in price during peak hours. So this is giving incentives for state and local governments to make more of those. Reduce the environmental and community impacts of freight movement. Ooh. Alternative fuel vehicles. Oh, this is so cool. This is as a something of a science nerd, to see this kind of, and we're only a little ways through, but to see this kind of anti-climate change language in a bill is super exciting. Project described in this section as a diesel engine. Okay. Described in this new capacity. Reduces transportation emissions at port facilities. Okay. Now, this is the second time we've seen this kind of language, which makes me wonder if the amount of emissions at port facilities is not much higher than I think it is. Because when I think of carbon emissions, I do not think of ports. I do not think of ports or ships. I think of cars and trucks and planes. I may be incorrect in that supposition. Okay, alright. Carbon reduction strategy in general. Okay, I love this section. I've seen this section. In general, not later than 2 years after the date of enactment of the Surface Transportation Reauthorization Act of 2021, a state, in consultation with any metropolitan planning organization designated within the state, shall develop a carbon reduction strategy in accordance with this subsection. Shall. Not may. Not can. Shall. This is federal obligation of states to develop a carbon reduction strategy. As some friends and allies have already pointed out, there are some issues with that. Of course there are some issues with that, but holy cow, is that huge. Let's take a look at the requirements. The carbon reduction strategy of a state developed under paragraph 1 shall A. Support efforts to reduce transportation emissions. Cool. Identify projects and strategies to reduce transportation emissions, which may include projects and strategies for safe, reliable, and cost-effective options. To reduce congestion by facilitating more sustainable modes of transport. Use of vehicles, more sustainable vehicles. To support the reduction of transportation of the state, not in the state, of the state. At the discretion of the state, quantify the total carbon emissions from the production, transport, and use of materials used in the construction of transportation facilities within the state. So, this is saying that it is not at the discretion of the state to enforce this. It is at the discretion of the state to decide how. It is up to the state to quantify it. Be appropriate to the population density and context of the state, including any metropolitan planning organization designated within the state. So this is giving states, all of my states' rights people, this is giving the states, this section is obliging the states to come up with a plan and implement that plan, but this section is saying, it is up to you, it is up to the states to decide, based on the context of the state, how best to go about it. Carbon reduction strategy of a state developed under paragraph shall be updated not less frequently than once every 4 years. Ooh, it has to be updated. Let's go. Not later than 90 days after the date on which a state submits a request for the approval of a carbon reduction strategy developed by the state under paragraph 1, the Secretary shall review the process used to develop the carbon reduction strategy, certify that the carbon reduction strategy meets the requirements of paragraph 2, or deny certification of the carbon reduction strategy, and specify the actions necessary for the state to correct the deficiencies in the process of the state in developing the carbon reduction strategy. Whew! We're only a little deep here, guys. Buckle up. So this is saying there's so much oversight here. There's oversight specified. You need to submit your carbon reduction strategy to the Secretary, and it is at the discretion of the Secretary to deny it. To say, it's not good enough, go back to the drawing board, you need to do it again. And in this section it says, specify the actions necessary to correct deficiencies. This is how you have not given a good enough carbon reduction strategy. Okay. This is more language that I've been seeing a lot. At the request technical assistance, at the request of the state, the Secretary shall provide technical assistance in the development of a carbon reduction strategy under paragraph 1. I kind of like this. Apparently this is quite common, and I didn't know this. But this is basically just saying, hold on, my mic fell over. Hold on, 3 years. There we go. Testing. All right. This is basically just saying, if you need help, we'll give it to you. 65% shall be obligated in proportion to the relative shares of population of the state. In urban areas with not less than 5,000. So this is requirements of allocation based on population. Funds attributed to an urbanized area under paragraph 1AI may be obligated to the metro. Okay. These are specifics based on population. State may obligate the funds described in subparagraph A based on other factors if the state and the relevant metropolitan planning organizations jointly apply to the Secretary for permission to base the obligation on other factors, and the Secretary grants the request. So this is saying that you must allocate based on population unless you make the request to not allocate based on population and the Secretary of State says yes. The Secretary of the Department says yes, I should say. More population. Federal share of the cost of the project carried out using funds. Treatment of projects. Okay, that's it. So this is obligation of states to create and maintain, apply with, get approval for, and consistently update carbon reduction strategies. That's so cool. Moving right along. Section 11404, Congestion Relief Program. In general, Section 120... It's my favorite noise. Integrated Congestion Management System means a system for the integration and management of operations. These are definitions. Secretary shall establish a congestion relief program to provide discretionary grants to eligible entities to advance innovative, integrated, and multimodal solutions to congestion relief in the most congested metropolitan areas of the United States. Once you pass 30 minutes of speaking straight, your words start to blend together. So, the Secretary shall establish a program. Okay, so that's cool. Program goals. The goals of the program are to reduce highway congestion, reduce economic and environmental costs associated with congestion. I like how they slip economic in here to make sure that you know that going green is good for your pocketbook as well as good for the air. And optimize existing highway capacity and uses of highway. Okay. Improving intermodal transportation, reducing or shifting highway users to off times or to non-highway travel, pricing of based on, okay, make parking more expensive so people don't want to drive. Okay, I think that this makes a lot of sense. Funds from a grant under the program may be used for a project. Okay, deployment of an carbon pricing. Cordon pricing. I don't know this term. Cordon pricing. Cordon pricing involves charging a fee to enter or drive within a congested area, usually a city center. Cordon pricing. So in order to drive within a city, you are charged. Huh. What is a cordon charge? What are the marginal social costs of driving in heavily congested areas? Huh. I did not know that this existed, but I am broadly speaking in favor of it. Cordon pricing and parking pricing and congestion pricing to oblige people to use public transportation systems and or carpool and or drive less and or telecommute. Deployment and operation of mobility services. I thought that, okay. Including okay. Incentive programs that encourage travelers to carpool, use non-highway travel modes during peak period, or travel during non-peak period. Okay, makes sense. And this is the application section. Okay, I love this. This is amazing. I love this whole section. This whole climate change section is flipping fantastic. Let's move on to 11405. As a dear friend of mine said recently, all that anyone in federal government ever does is create clever acronyms. That's it. That's some intern somewhere. 100% of their job is to come up with clever acronyms. Listen to this. Promoting resilient operations for transformative, efficient, and cost-saving transportation Protect program. That is just truly abominable. Just unimaginably terrible. But let's dig into it anyway. The Protect program. Definitions. Program. Resilient. Okay. I really like this program. Establishment. In general, and I forgot to silence my phone, but we're 35 minutes into the video. There we go. Please be silent, phone. 33 minutes into the video even. We are burning through this. In general, the Secretary shall establish a program to be known as the Promoting Resilient Operations for Transformative, Efficient, and Cost-Saving Transportation program, or the Protect program. Thank God we're going to be using that from now on. The purpose of the program is to provide grants for resilience improvements through formula funding distributed states carry out subsection C, competitive planning grants. Okay, so this is just application. Okay, this is C. Competitive resilience improvement grants to protect surface transportation assets by making the assets more resilient to current and future weather events and natural disasters, such as severe storms, flooding, drought, levee and dam failures, wildfire, rock slides, mudslides, sea level rise, extreme weather, including extreme temperature and earthquakes. Holy cow, is that really cool. This is future-proofing against climate change. This is saying we want to make surface transportation more resilient to extreme weather phenomena, including severe storms, flooding, drought, levee and dam failures, wildfire, etc. To protect. So, again, this is how you read these things. Competitive resilience improvement grants to protect, and then you jump down here, communities through resilience improvements and strategies that allow for the continued operation or rapid recovery of surface transportation systems that serve critical needs, provide access to service or hospitals, perfect. Coastal infrastructure such as tide gate to protect highways that is at long-term risk of sea level rise. I try really hard not to get depressed when reading things like these. Natural infrastructure that protects and enhances surface transportation assets. Okay, perfect. And then we go into eligibility. Let's take a brief jaunt through eligibility. Requirements. If a project under this subsection is carried out in whole or in part within a base floodplain, the state shall identify the base floodplain, indicate to the Secretary whether the state plans to implement one or more components of the risk mitigation plan under the Robert T. Stafford Disaster Relief. Okay. State shall use apportioned funds. Highway project eligible under this title. System resilience. A project carried out by a state with funds apportioned to the state under Section 104B8 may include the use of natural infrastructure or the construction of modifications of storm surge, flood protection, or aquatic ecosystem restoration elements that are functionally connected to a transportation improvement, such as increasing marsh health and total area adjacent to a highway right-of-way to promote additional flood storage. Okay. Upgrades to an installation of culverts designed to withstand 100-year flood events. Now, I saw this while I was looking through yesterday, but I want to make sure that my definition of 100-year flood event is clear enough. 100-year flood event. Yes. A 100-year flood event is used to describe the recurrent interval of floods. The 100-year recurrence. Okay. Okay, upgrades to an installation of tide gates to protect highways, upgrades to an installation of floodgates to protect tunnel entrances. Mom, if you're watching this, don't think about anything related to tunnels while you are driving through tunnels. Don't think about water, don't think about the entire East River over your head. Just don't think about it. Federal cost share accepted. Okay, this is economics related to this program. Very interesting, but not what we're dealing with today. Limitations. May not use more than 40% of the funds apportioned for the construction of new capacity, and may not use more than 10% of the funds apportioned to the state for activities described in subparagraph EII. If we find EII, we'll take a look at that. Competitive awards, not super worried about that. This is specific allocations, more specific allocations and methods of fund allocations. Ooh, what's this? Knowledgeable entity may use, such as sea level rise, flooding, wildfires, extreme weather events, and other natural disasters. Oh my god, this is so cool. You know you're nerdy when you get super excited about legal jargon. An activity eligible to carry out on the subparagraph: resurfacing, restoration, rehabilitation, reconstruction, replacement, improvement, or realignment of an existing surface transportation facility, the incorporation of natural infrastructure, the upgrade of an existing surface transportation facility, the installation of mitigation measures that prevent the intrusion of floodwaters into surface transportation systems, strengthening systems that remove rainwater for surface transportation facilities, upgrades to installation. Okay. Relocating roadways. Oh my god. They're encouraging road relocation. Installing riprap. You guys want to learn a term? Let's find out what riprap means. Define riprap. Loose stone used to form a foundation for a breakwater or other structure. Huh. Okay. Cool. Lengthening or raising bridges. Cool. Increasing the size or number of drainage structures. Cool. Installing seismic retrofits on bridges. Scour protection, scour streams, vegetation management practices, and transportation rights of way to improve roadway safety, prevent measures of... Okay. Any other protective features? You can't pause the video when you're at 40 minutes. Any other protective features? Okay. How are we doing on our video time? Okay, we are halfway through FTL. Once we start to approach an hour and a half, oh goodness, we are 100% going to approach an hour and a half. Okay. Section on priority, but I think we can step off the protect program for now. The protect program can be quickly defined as promoting resilience against climate change and other natural disasters. Holy cow. 06. Moving on. The Healthy Streets program. This is a little bit less flashy, but certainly interesting. Yes, I think in this section, the definition of a cool pavement might be useful. The term cool pavement means a pavement with reflective surfaces with higher albedo to decrease the surface temperature of that pavement. So let's move right on down. Program, state, definitions. Establishment. The Secretary shall establish a discretionary grant program to be known as the Healthy Streets Program, to provide grants to eligible entities, to 1. Deploy cool pavement and porous pavements, and 2. To expand tree cover. Goals. The goals of the program are to mitigate urban heat islands, to improve air quality, and to reduce the extent of impervious surfaces, to reduce stormwater runoff and flood risks, and to reduce heat impacts to infrastructure and road users. In cities, because it is all glass and concrete, heat is a huge problem. A city street can get well into the low approaching mid triple digits because it's so hot and it's baking under the sun all day. This is allocating funds for cooler streets. Let's take a look into how. Application is not necessary. Use of funds. An eligible entity that receives a grant under the program will use grant funds for one or more of the following activities. Conducting an assessment. Okay. Comprehensive tree canopy assessment. Okay. Conducting an equity assessment by mapping tree canopy gap. Okay. Planning activities, including developing an investment plan. Okay. Purchasing and deploying cool pavements to mitigate urban heat island hotspots. Purchasing and deploying porous pavement to mitigate flooding and stormwater runoff in pedestrian or only areas or areas of low volume, low speed vehicular use. Interesting. Purchasing of trees, site preparation, planting of trees, ongoing maintenance and monitoring of trees. Okay. Assessing underground infrastructure and coordinating with local transportation. I love how granular this freaking bill is. Hiring staff to okay. Okay. This is the Healthy Streets program is exactly what it sounds like. Urban heat islands and street flooding are huge problems. This endeavors to fix them. Okay. And that, my friends, is the end of the first section. Section 1, climate change. We are now moving on. Oh boy. We've got a long way to go. And I'm sure that you can understand this is going to be hard for me. We will endeavor not to go deep into every single one of the sections that we come upon. But we might anyway, because I like this kind of thing, and it's my video. 11525. Oh, sugar. No, not technical corrections. I must have gotten the wrong one. 11528. There we are. 11528. Pollinator-friendly practices on roadsides and highway rights-of-way. Secretary shall establish a program to provide grants to establish entities to carry... I'm going to turn down FTL just a hair. Just a hair. Just a hair. Come on, just a hair. There we go. Hopefully you guys can still hear that. To benefit pollinators on roadsides and... Okay. More bees. More bees. Eligible entities. Okay. Application. Okay. Here we go. The Pollinator-Friendly Practices Plan. I haven't looked at this one at all. In general, an eligible entity shall include in the application under subject... Okay. You must include a plan. Oh. Okay. Practices relating to mowing strategies that promote early successional vegetation and limit disturbance. Okay. Okay, so this is saying applicants must provide plans to not cut the grass while the bees are trying to pollinate. Okay. Refraining from mowing monarch and other pollinator habitat during periods in which monarchs or other pollinators are present. Okay. Flushing by vegetation management includes approaches. Planting seeds, native. Oh, okay. More plants. Moving non-native grasses. Obtaining expert training or assistance on pollinator-friendly practices. Oh, that's such a cop-out. Or E, learn. Okay. Pollinator-friendly practices that the secretary deems to be appropriate. Okay. This one, this seems to me like a late addition to the bill. This is one of those parts of the bill that got added a little later, that somebody argued for the inclusion of, and 3 weeks before the bill went live, people were like, David, fine. We can put in the part about the bees, but you have to write it. And this is what David put together in a week. Okay. Coordination, consultation, award of grants, use of funds, federal share, best practices. The Secretary shall develop and make available to eligible entities best practices for and a priority ranking of pollinator-friendly practices on roadsides and highway rights of way. Cool. Not later than 1 year after the date on which the first grant is provided under this section, the Secretary shall submit to the Committee on Environment and Public Works of the Senate and the Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure of the House of Representatives a report on the implementation of the program under this section. Okay, cool. Authorization, we don't really care about. Okay, that's it. Bees. Bees are good. Butterflies are good. This is saying we will give you money from this bill, from the appropriation for this bill, if you can demonstrate that, if you create a plan to make your area more pollinator friendly. I love it. Okay, moving right along. The next one is the carbon maintenance section that we discussed. 40303 and 40308. Okay. Carbon Capture Technology Program. Yo! Okay. Okay. So this one may not be all that useful. Section 962 of the Energy Policy Act of 2005 is amended with all of these things. Program for carbon, okay. Adding to the following. Front-end engineering and design program for carbon dioxide transport infrastructure necessary to enable deployment of carbon capture, utilization, and storage technologies. And okay, cool. All right, nice. Okay, there's not a lot we can glean from that one, I think, so let's go right on to 308, carbon removal. Oh, these are just amendments. These are very hard to tease apart without the full text of the bill that they're amending. Definitions. Establishment of the program, there we go. Secretary shall establish a program under which the Secretary shall provide funding for eligible projects that contribute to the development of 4 regional direct air capture hubs described in subparagraph B. Regional direct air capture hubs. Each of the 4 regional direct air capture hubs developed under the program under subparagraph A shall be a regional direct air capture hub that facilitates the deployment of direct air capture projects, has the capacity to capture and sequester, utilize, or sequester and utilize. Has the capacity to capture and sequester, utilize, or sequester and utilize at least 1 million metric tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere annually from a single unit or multiple interconnected units. So, we are going to pause on this section. This is a very interesting section. Here's the question. how many metric tons does the U.S. put into the air a year? How much of a dent is this going to make? Put your guesses below while we look it up. Now let me see. Can I come over here? Oh, I certainly can. All right, here we go. No, I probably shouldn't. I probably shouldn't show you guys my search history. Probably not super wise. Let's see. How much carbon does the U.S. put out a year? Gonna bring this over here, if it'll let me. There we go. The U.S. Energy Information Administration estimates that in 2019, the United States emitted 5.1 billion metric tons. Oh boy. Okay. So, let's do it. Let's do it right now. We're going to say 5.51. There we go. That's 100. That's 100 million. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then 1 million divided by 51 billion. Did I get that right? Million. 100 million. Billion. Yes, I did. Never do math live on air. Okay. So that means that each facility will be pulling out, and then we can multiply that by 100 to turn it into a percent. Remember your math. So this is about 0.02% a year. No. 0.02% of the total U.S. emission that will be pulled out per year. But it did say, and let me just confirm this, that there will be 4 capture hubs. Each capture hub must utilize or sequester, capture and sequester, utilize or sequester and utilize 1 million. So we can reasonably multiply this by 4. 0.078%. Let's say that they all overperform. 0.1%. 0.1% of the annual carbon emission will be taken out by just this section. 0.1% is not a lot by any reckoning. But it's not nothing. 0.1%, huh? 0.1%. Okay. 0.1%. I'm internalizing this at the same time that you guys are. 0.1% utilized. 0.1% removed every year. Okay? I think that is outstanding. For just one section of this one bill to pull 0.1% is outstanding. This is not even considering the fact that these will be pulling 4 million metric tons a year. But that the carbon reduction strategies we've already discussed will be taking that 5.1 billion and pulling it down. Maybe this gets up to 5%. Maybe this gets up to a full percent and then to 5%. This is really meaningful, and I'm really excited about it. A little less excited than I was before, because I was hoping that this would be a larger percentage, but still excited. You know what? This is as good a time as any to address the detractors from bills like this, who say that it is not good enough. 0.1% is a lot. 0.1% as the first step is a lot, and there is no chance that I am going to complain about it. All right, here we go. Moving right along. All right, so I think that's just about that's about the sum of this. So why don't we move right on? This is 40308. Now we're moving on to nuclear and hydropower. Yeah. 40321. There we go. Yeah, okay. Definitions, report. Not later than 180 days after the date of the enactment of this act, the Secretary shall submit to the Committee on Energy and Natural Resources of the Senate and the Committee's, a report that describes how the Department could enhance energy resilience and reduce carbon emissions with the use of micro-reactors and small modular reactors. So this is saying you must provide a report on how reactors would, whether and how nuclear reactors would help. Okay, scrolling right along. Okay. Cool. Now we're going on to 2.3. Civil Nuclear Credit Program. Yo. The term certified nuclear reactor. Okay. We're all getting a crash course in nuclear physics, or at least the politics surrounding nuclear physics. Yes. Titles. Okay. I think we might have missed it. No, this is application. Okay. The Secretary shall establish a civil nuclear credit program to evaluate nuclear reactors that are projected to cease operations due to economic failures and to allocate credits to certified nuclear reactors that are selected under paragraph... Oh. So this is closing of nuclear reactors that are outdated. Okay, that's not what I thought we were going to see here, but is still certainly not bad. I might have liked to see more, but still not bad. Okay, let's move right on to 40331. This is hydropower. Being from Western New York, hydropower is something that we are very familiar with up here. This is another one that is just many amendments. Qualify hydroelectric project constructed. Okay. I think these are more just amendments, and I don't think we're going to get too much out of this section. Yes. Okay. That's totally fine. In that case, we will move right along. We will move on to miscellaneous mine solar. 341. There we go. Solar energy technologies on current and former mine land. Okay. Claimed or patented. Okay. Description of the technical and economic value. Okay. Okay. Definitions. Yep. Yes. Mine land. Okay. Establishment. The Secretary shall establish a program to demonstrate the technical and economic viability of carrying out clean energy projects on current and former mine land. Okay, so this is another one. This is one of those ones that's not implementing something. It is having the Secretary establish a program to demonstrate the viability of a given plan. Secretary shall consult with the Director of the Office of Surface Mining through the office to determine whether it is necessary to promulgate regulations or issue guidance in order to... Okay. Yes. There's authorized to be appropriate. Holy cow. Huh. Well, what do you know? So this has a $500 million price tag on it. Compatibility with his existing operations? No. Project okay. Okay. Well, this is the important part we missed. The first part is people must a commission shall be put together to establish the viability of these. Then, project selection. The Secretary shall solicit proposals for clean energy projects and select clean energy project finalists in consultation with the Secretary of the Interior, the Administrator, and blah, 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 blah. Okay? And whoever is selected gets some or all of this. Sick. Okay? Cool. Cool, that's that. That is the mine solar. So we may be seeing solar farms on old mine land in the foreseeable future. Okay. Moving right along, we want to go to 40502. Yeah, there we go. Energy Efficiency Revolving Loan Fund Capitalization Grant Program. Okay. No, this is not what we're looking for. 511. Let's try down there. Cost-effective codes implementation for efficiency and resilience. This is such a beefy bill, you guys. Now, I want to note, we're only doing the stuff directly related to climate change. Relevant state agents. Establishment. Oh, pardon me. Establishment. In general, the Secretary shall establish within the Building Technologies Office of the Department of Energy a program under which the Secretary shall award grants on a competitive basis to eligible entities to enable sustained and cost-effective implementation of updated building energy codes. Cool. Consumption information sharing. So this is a section on reporting. I love oversight. I love bureaucracy. Technically correct, the best kind of correct and all that. Future of industry. Okay. Okay. More amendments. Hold on. Let's make sure that we're not missing something. Definitions. 2, 3, 4. Definitions. Okay. Institution of higher education. Provide funding to institution of higher education-based industrial research and assessment centers. The purpose of each institution of higher education-based industrial research and assessment center shall be to provide in-depth assessments of small and medium-sized manufacturer plant sites to evaluate facilities and services. Okay. Optimizing energy efficiency. That's amazing. So this is saying to higher education facilities, we are going to give you money. You are going to conduct research into possible energy efficiency upgrades for small and medium-sized manufacturing. Cool. Now let's see if we can find coordination. That's great, but not what we're looking for. We're looking for implementation. Outreach, that's fine. Centers of Excellence, that's fine. Okay. I'm not sleepy. I knew I should have gotten a cup of coffee. Workforce training. Small business loans. No, we're not dealing with economics today. We can't. We don't have time. Authorization of appropriations. There it is. There's the money. Holy crap. Okay, moving right along. 552. Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant Program. Okay. Programs for financing energy efficiency, renewable energy, and zero-emission transportation, capital investments, projects, and programs which may include loan programs and performance contracting programs for leveraging of additional public and private sector funds. Okay. There's authorized to be appropriate $550 million. Okay. Employment demographics. Okay. Okay, so this is very self-explanatory. Survey, analysis, and report on employment and demographics in the energy efficiency and motor vehicle sectors of the United States. I think we can probably safely skip this one. With energy conservation. Yeah, this is what I want. There is authorized to be appropriated to the Secretary to provide grants authorized under many things. $250 million. Okay. Rebates. Oh, $10 million for the extended period. Okay. Combined heat. Additional definitions. Inclusion. Model guidance. Oh my god, my eyes are glazing over. I can only... any human being can only dig for so long. Okay. You know what? I love energy efficiency, but we're going to jump on to the next section because I can feel my brain slipping away. The next section is a little bit more, let's call it exciting. 40801. Resources related infrastructure. Natural resources related infrastructure. Wildfire management and ecosystem restoration. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Establishment. Secretary shall establish the Forest Service Legacy Road and Trail Remediation Program. Okay. Carrying out the program, the Secretary shall, taking into account foreseeable changes in weather and hydrology, restore patches for fish and other aquatic species by improving, repairing, or replacing culverts and other infrastructure and removing barriers as the Secretary deems appropriate from other passages. That's so cool! Okay. Decommission unauthorized user... Aw, this is garbage! Decommission unauthorized user-created roads and trails that are not a National Forest System road or a National Forest System trail if the applicable unit of the National Forest System has published some things. Man, I for one really enjoy exploring trails that are not National Forest System trails. Okay. Alright, I love roads and trails. This is very exciting. Nothing is more exciting than roads and trails. Decommissioning of temporary roads. Okay, I think we can probably skip the temporary roads. How about 802? Feasibility of revegetating reclaimed mine sites. Super exciting. But we're moving right along because we're at an hour and 7 minutes. Wildfire risk reduction. This is what I'm freaking looking for. This is the juicy bit. Okay, treatment. Actually, through the chief of forest service, have not been able to conduct restoration treatments and improve fire regime. Class of 10 million acres. Oh my god. Okay. Money. I love money. $600 million. Anybody looking to apply? Made available to Secretary. Type 1 and Type 2 incident management team to maintain interoperability. Okay. It's interesting, I swear. Fire workshops. Fire control locations. Workforce training for staff, non-federal firefighters. Wildland firefighting. Oh, cool. This is granular apportionment of funds for wildfire prevention. And with that in mind, I think we can skip to the next one. Ecosystem restoration. Look at how freaking great. This is a really good bill. Guys, this is a great bill. What do you think the odds are we can get done by an hour and a half? Okay. GAO. I'm going to be honest, I don't know what the GAO is. Hold on, let's find out. GAO. Acronym. The Governmental Accountability Office. I did know that. Conduct a study on the implementation of this title and the amendments made by this title, including whether this title and the amendments made by this title have effectively reduced wildfire risk. Cool. Establishment of fuel breaks in forests and other wildland vegetation. Okay. 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 Emergency actions. This is real money being advocated for real wildfire prevention action. I didn't think we'd see this on a federal level. Actually, okay. Mitigation of threats. Okay. Definitions. The term secretary means the Secretary of Agriculture. Cool. Authorized emergency actions to respond to emergency situations. Determination. In general, the Secretary may make a determination that an emergency situation exists with respect to the National Forest System. Review. An emergency situation determination shall not be subject to objection under the pre-decisional administrative review process under a whole bunch of numbers. Basis of determination. An emergency situation determination shall be based on an examination of the relevant information. Authorized emergency actions. After making an emergency situation determination with respect to the National Forest System land, the Secretary may carry out authorized emergency actions on that National Forest System land in order to achieve reliefs from hazards threatening human health and safety or mitigation of threats to natural resources on National Forest System land or adjacent land. This is what I was looking for. So this gives the Secretary of Agriculture and through the Secretary of Agriculture, the President, the authority to go on adjacent land to National Forest System land to start doing emergency management. So if the state of California has a wildfire going on, and it is at least partially on federal land, on National Forest System land, I should say, the Secretary of Agriculture, and therefore the President, should be able to engage in emergency actions in the state of California. Cool. Through the salvage of dead or dying trees, the harvest of trees damaged by wind or ice. Oh. Insects, reforestation. Okay. Hazardous trees, removal of hazardous fuels. Okay. Huh. I lied. They can only do these things. These A, B, C, D, E, F, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. 8 things. These 8 things. But what? 9 things. Okay. How are we doing on FTL? A couple tracks left. No worries. We're cruising. Okay, this makes sense to me. Right? This tracks to me. This is these are emergency management. Emergency management authorizations. Cool. This is giving the Secretary of Agriculture a little bit more power in emergency management. Okay, cool. Let's move right along. 40601. This is the methane section that we talked about a little while ago. Orphaned well site plugging, remediation, and restoration. Okay. Definitions. Orphaned well. Well, not used for an authorized purpose. Okay. Establishment. Not later than 60 days after the date of enactment of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the Secretary shall establish a program to plug, remediate, and reclaim orphaned wells located on federal land. Included activities. The program under this subsection shall include a method of identifying, characterizing, and inventorying orphaned wells and associated pipelines, facilities, and infrastructure on federal land, and ranking those orphaned wells for priority in plugging, remediation, and reclamation. Okay. Distribute funding in accordance with priorities. So they plug in old oil wells. That's really cool. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense to me. Okay. Up next, 41201. Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations. The term covered... Okay, definitions. Establishment. The Secretary, in coordination with the heads of relevant program offices of the Department, shall establish a program to conduct project management and oversight of covered projects, including by... okay, covered projects. Maybe we need to go and look at the definition of a covered project. Okay, that's not helpful. Employees to carry... Okay. 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 Technical amendment. Okay, that's it. All it does is create the office, I think. The Office of Clean Energy Demonstrations, but it doesn't really outline any of the things that it can do. That's fine. We have 5 sections left, guys. 5 sections left. We're almost done. 70201. Here we go. Here we go. Wildfire mitigation. Definitions. Ooh, see, I like this. They pack all the definitions under one subsection. So I can just scroll on to 203, establishment. Not later than 30 days after the date of this act, the secretaries shall jointly establish a commission to study and make recommendations for federal policies relating to the prevention, mitigation, suppression, and management of wildland fires. Cool. All right, we are looking for... What are we looking for? We're looking to get out of establishment. Each member of the commission appointed. Okay. Vacancies we don't care about. Duties of commission. That's what we care about. Not later than 1 year after the date of the first meeting of the commission. The commission shall submit to the appropriate committees of Congress a report describing recommendations to prevent, mitigate, suppress, and manage wildland fires. Oh, this is so cool. This is amazing. Okay. Yep. Report. Big report. It's got to give a report to Congress. It's got to say all these things. Yep. Recommendation for changes to national strategy. Yep. Report on aerial wildland firefighting, equipment strategy, and inventory assessment. Makes sense to me. I don't need to know the requirements for that report. Yep. Powers of commission. Okay, this is what they can do. The commission may hold such hearings, sit and act at such times and places, take such testimony, and receive such as evidence as the commission considers advisable to carry out this title. What? Is that what it can do? Okay. Well, let's look for C. Postal services? These are the United States mails and this. Okay. May accept, use, and dispose of gifts or donate. What? What the heck is the point of any of this? So, this commission must make a report to Congress, and can hold hearings. And is that it? Is this is just an advisory committee? Somebody snuck this bad boy in. The commission may accept, use, and dispose of such gifts or donations of services or property as the commission considers necessary to carry out this title. Good Lord. Oh, no. A member of this commission shall serve without compensation. Okay. Travel experience. Okay. Okay. All right. So, it really is. Oh, okay. So this really is just a congressional advisory commission. The commission shall terminate on the date that is 180 days after the date on which the commission has submitted the reports under subsections A and B. Okay, that makes sense to me. That makes a lot of sense to me, actually. Once the commission has run its course, it's done. It's just advisory, and then Congress gets to decide what to do further. Okay, not great, but that's fine. I'm telling you, Some intern can't, like, they don't let them out of their little cupboard until they come up with enough cool acronyms. The Repairing Existing Public Land by Adding Necessary Trees Act, or the Replant Act. Oh, that's so good. Reforestation following wildfires and other unplanned events. Okay, so this is a section designed to replant and reforest. Okay. Very sensible. Yep. 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 It's like programming, guys. Gotta be very specific. Reforestation Trust Fund. Not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act, and annually thereafter, the Secretary of Agriculture shall submit to the Committee on Agriculture, Nutrition and Forestry. To the Committee on. Okay, committees, and make publicly available on the website of the Forest Service a report that describes, with respect to the preceding year, an evaluation of the degree to which the Secretary has achieved compliance with the requirements contained in the amendments made by this title. Okay. So let's take a closer look. I'm sure that we passed it. Let's take a closer look at the specifics. Okay, priority list. Take place on priority land. Ranking. Okay. How we doing on FTL? Still got a couple tracks. I love this track. It's so good. This is the final boss fight track. Alright. Let's move on. Not that I don't want to know more about reforestation, but we got to move on eventually. Recycling. Battery recycling. Okay. Battery recycling, and what's O2? Consumer Recycling Outreach Program. Oh, this is so cool, you guys. I'm so excited. Well, let's get on to one of my favorites. 71101. The Clean School Bus Program. Let's go. You guys may recall that one of Biden's campaign promises was to make the federal fleet clean. And this is definitely a step in that direction. This is sort of an adjacent thing. It doesn't make the federal fleet clean, but it is certainly promotion of governmental renewable energy vehicles. Alternative fuels, yep. Definitions. Titles. Yep. 7, 8. Zero emission school bus. Okay. Program for replacement of existing school buses with clean school buses and zero emission school buses. That is a descriptive title. I like that title. The administrator shall to award grants and rebates on a competitive basis to eligible recipients for the replacement of existing school buses with clean school buses. Hey, Schenectady Public School System, we will give you money if you replace your school buses. I love it. Cool. Yeah. Eligible contract, sure. Allocation of funds. To replace existing school buses. Wait, what does this say? 50% to replace existing school buses with zero-emission school buses, and 50% to replace existing school buses with clean school buses and zero-emission school buses. Clean school buses are distinct from zero-emission school buses, as the definitions told us. Making awards per... The cheaper the better. Make determinations based on local conditions. School buses in Tallahassee are different than school buses in Anchorage. Cool. I love this. All clean school buses operate as part of the school bus fleet. Okay. For not less than 5 years. You got to keep the buses. Okay. You can't take the money, get the school buses, then put a diesel engine in them. Okay. I love it. I'm so excited. How about we get on to 02? Electric or low-emitting ferry pilot program. Yes, definitions. We have to define what these things are every time. Secretary of Transportation in this case. Establishment. The Secretary shall carry out a pilot program to provide grants for the purposes of electric or low-emitting ferries and the electrification of or other reductions of emissions from existing ferries. Cool. Not less than one grant under this section shall be for a ferry service that serves the state with the largest number of marine highway system miles. Place your bets in the comments below. Which state has the highest number of marine highway system miles? I bet it's New York. Because the New York ferries are really, really something. California, it could be. I guess Oregon or Washington, it could be. Let's look it up. Which state has the most ferries? Okay. According to the U.S. Bureau of Transportation, nearly 119 million passengers and 25 million motor vehicles received ferry transport in 2015, the Bureau's most recent data, with New York and Washington being the two states with the most ferry boardings. Okay. Super cool. Super neat. Buy ferry service with an aging fleet. Buy state ferry service with an aging fleet. Okay. $50 million. $50 million a year. Wow. Ferry service for rural communities. Are there a lot of ferries in rural communities? Scheduled ferry. Okay. Definitions. To ensure that this is... okay. Secretary shall establish requirements and criteria for participation in the program. Waivers, treatment... not attributable to urbanized areas. An eligible service that receives funds from a state under this section shall not be attributed to an urbanized area for purposes of apportioning funds under Chapter 53 of Title 49 of the U.S. Code. An eligible service that receives funds from a state under this section shall not receive funds apportioned... Okay. Funding. Okay, so this is saying... What? So this section is worth $50 million a year. But this section, the rural section, is worth $200 million a year? Wow. Somebody, I bet this is a person specific. Let's get a little inside baseball here. I bet that this section, they needed one particular person. You know, I can't even think of a good example right now. They needed somebody in Florida. And they said, all right, you need rural Floridian ferries. You need like Missouri needs rural ferries on the Mississippi River. We'll put this section in if you vote for the bill. Cool. We're just going to loop FTL, by the way. 100%. Such a good intro. Alright, we are at 1 hour and 28 minutes and we're almost done. Recycling practice, clean school bus. Okay, so we have 2 sections left to go. Disaster or critical event relief. 80501. This is definitely in relation to COVID, but I think that this will apply to global warming, climate change related disasters in the near future. Amendments. Definitions. Effective date. Modifications of rules for postponing certain acts by reason of service in combat zone. Good lord. Alright, I think that This has happened a couple times. I think that this is not what we actually need. Okay, this is the last thing I wanted to go through. A little bit of economics. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I haven't really looked into this. Shall draw down and sell from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve 87,600,000 barrels of crude oil during the period of fiscal years 2028 through 2031. Timing. Okay. Minimize the financial reserve. Okay. Positive amounts received from sale. Amounts received from sale should be deposited in the general fund of the Treasury during the fiscal year in which the sale occurs. Okay. Secretary of the Treasury shall deposit in the SPR Petroleum account $43.5 million a year. Emergency protection secretary shall not draw down and sell crude oil under a quantity that would limit the authority to sell petroleum products under. Okay. Limitations. Okay. Okay, so this is part of the funding for this bill. Now, granted, this is 0.6% of the funding for this bill. But still, this is some of the funding for this bill. $6.1 billion. Okay? Remember, this is a $1 trillion bill. This is $10 billion would be 1% of the total cost of the bill. So the crude oil sale amounts to about 0.5% of that total. Okay? All right, everybody. We have reached the end, at least the end of what I wanted to go through. Let's scroll down near the bottom, see what's going on at the end. Airport Terminal Program. Okay. Well, if you have made it through this hour and 31-minute video, I really want to thank you for watching. We might do some more analysis of this bill because it is a really interesting one. And we'll probably do some on the upcoming reconciliation bill, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And until next time, please be like the 2021 infrastructure bill. Be ambitious and popular, and when appropriate, cooperative. And above all, be interesting. See you next time.